Very good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the live trading webinar with myself, Giles Coughlin and Paul Sanders. Good to see you guys. Hope everybody's doing well. Good morning, Paul.
Hey, Giles. Good
How are you
morning.
doing? You okay?
I'm good. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday. How are you feeling in DC, Paul? How is it? Does it feel nice to be in the capital? What's it like?
Oh, I haven't gone out and explored the capital too much. I think it's just you're in a different place for a couple days. Nice to change it up.
Yeah,
get a different environment.
Outside your window's changed.
Yeah, exactly. I have all the light behind me now.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. When you go to, I don't know, just different places, different restaurants, different situations. So can give you a different perspective, hopefully help me trade better. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You got anything going on this weekend or?
Do you know, not a whole lot. My wife's not very well, so probably just taking it a little bit easier with her.
Just expecting you to text me and be like, Paul, I'm out. I'm down for the count.
Yeah. In fact, I had a friend over on Thursday night, and they asked for some medicine because they were feeling unwell. So I was like, oh no, everyone I see.
Oh no. But hasn't affected you yet. So
far, so good. So yeah. All right, then let's get stuck in. So sentiment today is quite mixed. We are just in the aftermath of the sort of sell-off we had yesterday generally. Now, it is those Walmart earnings that have worried investors. The Dow has a 1.6% weighting from Walmart. So that's still lower, but the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are both being able to find some dip buyers. China's up, Euro stocks, DAX all up. So sentiment is continuing in that positive note. There was just a note of caution over those Walmart earnings. So keep that in mind. The support level in the S&P 500 has held very nicely. Okay, we did find some dip buyers. We were looking at this yesterday and we were noticing that absorption, right, all the way down here, right? We could see that the absorption going on, price was sort of moving flat to lower, but the delta was building, and that just sort of just carried on building pretty much as soon as we left off yesterday. So just note that when you see that kind of absorption, it was a good indication that it was a turnaround coming. And you see pretty much as soon as we closed the charts, we just we started moving higher. There we go. That's the illness coming.
I know.
Yeah. And that's just a nice reminder of this sort of seasonal intraday bias we have in the E-mini, which is kind of down at the open. And then when we stop here, 12:30 US time, 5:30 UK time, and then picking back up for the second half of the day. And that's pretty much exactly what we saw, down, up, down, picking up for the rest of the day. So that seems to be a pattern that you'll continually notice. And that pattern that we saw the first sort of month of the year is carried on. So with that being said, the calendar is light, but we do have S&P PMIs coming out at 245 just after the open. So that'll be interesting right when we have that opening range breakout play as well. So that will be very interesting for that at 245 right across that data point. European data was weaker this morning. Had the French data out, which was quite a lot weaker. German data was mixed. Don't forget German election over the weekend. So there's quite a lot of risk going out over this weekend with the European elections in Germany. And remember this big story about the dollar. Remember, as soon as Trump came into office and as he was heading into office, the expectation was that Trump was going to be tariffs would be inflationary. And notice you keep seeing the dollar falling at the moment. And remember, there is a counter view that if Trump uses tariffs as a negotiating strategy, then other countries will reduce their import tax on US goods. So in a way, that could end up facilitating global trade, not weakening it. And that could end up with a dollar negative story. At the moment, the consensus view and the sensible view is still to expect dollar buying on any tariff announcements, but just keep that contrary view in mind. I am just keeping it open. Apart from that, we've got Fed's Jefferson speaking at 4 o'clock UK time. And we've got Trump speaking at 8:30, signing executive orders. Plus, he'll be getting up soon anyway, so watch out for tweets. We just had Scott Bessent on the line as well. So there's a few bits and bobs coming out over the session. The University of Michigan Sensory print, that's the final print. One thing that I would look at in that final print and could impact markets is just those inflation expectations. Do you remember the 1 year? Do you know that shot up to 4.3%? In the preliminary reading? If we just
weren't we trading during that release? Remember? And
yeah, we were.
That one popped out.
We were, and what we worth looking at is that revision. And the thing that was interesting is that the print was basically there. This is it. Do you see that really high inflation expectation? See that huge jump? And remember, Republicans saw no inflation coming, and Democrats saw like 5 or 6% inflation coming. So it was a really politically driven print. So I just thought, just ignore that, because that just doesn't make sense. The market didn't ignore it. But if you look at the revision at 3 o'clock, it's just cast our eyes on that 1 year. If that suddenly drops a lot lower, then that could be supportive of risk assets. In and of itself, it's not going to trump whatever else is going on. But if there's an absence of everything else going on, that could get some attention. So just something to keep in mind, really. So it's kind of a spattering of different events for us to look at as we go into the session. Looking at the inventory, we can see that the inventory is positive from the overnight session. And we can clearly see this recovery from yesterday's dip on Walmart. Now, the reason Walmart earnings got so much attention is because in some sense, people see it like a leading indicator, because it's a discount retailer. And if a discount retailer is starting to see consumers tighten up, it can be a good early warning sign of a slowdown in the US economy. So that's likely why you saw this snap reaction lower. Has picked up since then, and we found support around this 6127, which is the developing value area on the weekly chart. And you can see we've got some big sort of areas where sellers were trapped here at the 6135, which has provided decent support, point of control on the weekly, found some buyers, have stepped in, and now we're sitting up at that 6140 area. Got another big level at the 6150 on the hourly chart. And also we've got a big level here at the 6140. So there's a couple of big levels. Inventory is positive, and if you look at the session, we have been range bound, but with a bias to the upside, I'd say, from the open at midnight, Globex open. So it's kind of range bound. We're sort of playing the range, but with a bias to the upside, and you can clearly see some buyers stepping in on any dips. So I still think this is a dip buying opportunity. I think that 6130 region is still nice for dip buying opportunity. You've got that point of control here on the weekly chart, and you've got sellers who are trapped down here around that 6130, 6135. This is a lovely area. Just if we get any dips down to this kind of region, the first standard deviation, 6133, 6130. And you've got a very strong support sat around that 6130, 6127 region. So any dips down to that 6130, 6127 region looks suitable. We've got a value area, confirmed value area low, a couple of them just sitting across there. So it's a nice area and wouldn't be unreasonable to expect dip buys from that region. So important areas in the 15 minute. Obviously got some buyers coming in here at the 6135. That's an important area. And I also think this general whole band from 6127 to 6130 is really important. If we sort of crash back down this way, then we could be looking at a deeper pullback to that 6120. Just keeping in mind that we've got this, that's also the kind of developing value area on the weekly chart here around that 6125 region. So just got to keep our, this is a decent support level. The important areas that I can see on the 15-minute chart is this level here at the 6133, which is a re-kiss of those trap sellers there. Just as those sellers came down, touched, went up, and then we've seen another touch from these trap sellers there, moving higher. So the general trend is moving higher, but it's still quite range bound. To the upside, if we can get through this region, there is a decent run.
Just in remarks
up to the
from Brazil
6160.
Central Bank, David, it says central bank has no attachment to the exchange rate level target.
So a decent pull out of this area is worth looking at, because we could start moving up to that 6160 region. So if the trend starts to accelerate higher, that's definitely something to look at. Looking at the S&P 500 generally, you can just see that this is a clear rejection as lower prices, and it wouldn't be unreasonable to see this moving up back up to that R1 pivot point on the daily chart. We had that support level holding, tailing action. This is a market that's looking like it wants to go higher. So that's what I'm seeing. If you're looking across markets, you can see that volatility is pushing lower. Markets are generally higher, apart from the Dow, which is lower, but that's got a heavier Walmart weighting. Paul, what are you seeing out there today? What's grabbing your attention out there, news or otherwise, and what we're seeing?
No, that's about it. I was looking like you were at that daily chart, just kind of zooming into that and noticing that break and retest. Yep.
Yeah.
And you kind of, if you draw the consolidation right there at the 60-80 down to the, say, the 6,000, and you're kind of in this range, back, forth. And now we've broken out of it, and now you've had a retest. So you'd imagine, yeah, we can go down, do a few retests, consolidate here, but you also have got a real fair shot of popping higher. So
yes,
just nothing that actionable, just looking at it, being aware of it.
Yeah, it's what we were looking at yesterday, wasn't it? When it was coming down, that was the obvious area to find dip buyers. Yeah. And that corresponded to the big round 100 level on the futures chart. So, okay, we've seen that. I think too,
if you look up at those big daily levels, the first time going to test that, you're expecting reactions. If you look to the left, you get your first time, your second time, your third time, fourth time you could argue as well as right there, and then your fifth time, and then the breakout pullback. So now it's like, how that high up there that you're looking at, the 6140, that thing that could break easily. You know what I mean? We're compressing all the price actions going up. So
yeah,
nothing
definitely
to be afraid of with these highs anymore. You might just pop right through now.
Oh yeah.
What does Leo think of the price action?
Leo, what do you think of it? Well, he had an unusual day today because he slept all the way through. Normally, he'll sleep all the way through the morning, wake up for lunch, hassle me, and then he'll go back to sleep. But he didn't hassle me at lunch today. So
interesting.
He's off his A game. Something's not quite right.
He's sensing sickness in the family.
Yeah, maybe he's sick.
Yeah, I
think if he sensed sickness, he'd probably be more on me. He'd probably be trying to really hammer it. He'd probably try to hammer it at home his advantage.
Yeah.
Let's just see what else is going on. Yeah, interesting to see bonds as well. That bids continued in bonds since the FOMC minutes. So just with the Fed going to pause QT or slow QT, bond markets really like that.
Yeah.
That does help with dollar weakness. It helps with positive risk sentiment.
Yeah. And we're opening
central bank
potentially
at a level that we believe is ideal for foreign exchange reserves.
We're opening potentially just outside of value, I guess inside value from the 18th.
Yes.
And maybe inside value from the 17th, depending on where we end up. But for yesterday, hoping for an outside of value sort of start.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. In fact, this is quite a nice area up here, isn't it? And if we get a break, if we get some sellers trapped there, I do find a VWAP dip buy attractive. He says after getting my fingers burnt yesterday with a second standard deviation. Buy, but I do like it. Sentiment's quite positive out there. Inventory positive. In fact, that's quite a nice area with those sellers trapped there on the 15. 6139. Okay, just gonna get my head around this. We're dropping quite hard.
Yeah, and we're consolidating, looking like we want to go lower here too.
And the DAX is down now. Europe's down as well now. Devon's saying we may sweep yesterday's volume, looking for reaction around the 6107. Yeah, this is around those lows of yesterday's. See if buyers step back or if you have continuations to the downside. Yeah, nice. What we continue to see is very strongly imbalanced negative delta. This has just been relentless selling since a few minutes before the open, wasn't it? Look, sell, 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 sell. We've only had one candidate for aggressive buyers right at these lows.
Okay, now maybe a little turnaround on this consolidation. Let's see. See if price can move a little higher here.
Yeah, so we're in the confirmed value area low from yesterday. Let's have a look. Yeah, so this is an interesting area, isn't it?
And it's just coming up to about 1 minute now to the top of the hour. Again, looking out for final revisions to the UOM. Sentiment seen unrevised at 67.8. Also looking out for existing home sales in the US, seen it falling to 4.12 million in January from the prior 4.24 million.
All right, if this comes in, right, much hot, say that there's a revision to the upside, I'm going to take a short on this. So if that's like 4.5% and that's 3.4%, that'll be worth shorting.
Okay, nice. As a news trade.
As a news trade, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, nobody cares about home sales. Forget that. It's just, I'm just focusing on this inflation expect. Look at the headline as well. I'm going to make sense of it.
10 seconds.
To just see. But usually I'd never touch the final data, but I'll make an exception for this one because of the sensitivity to inflation.
Oh, wow.
Sentiment is revised lower to 64.7 beneath the expected and underneath analyst forecast range for conditions, revised lower to 65.7.
Right.
Expectations revised lower
Up
again
to 3.5%. That's
inflation expectations 1 year unrevised at 4.3%, while the 5 year revised up to
just
3.5%.
I'll take a quick sell on that, see what I can get out of it.
US existing home sales there 4.08 million, so a steeper drop than expected beneath the expected 4.12 million, with the prior revised up to 4.29 million from 4.24.
That's 3.5%. That's higher.
For the existing home sales report, 3.5 months worth, up from the prior 3.3.
Right, I'm just taking a quick little scalp on that. Just
Nice.
I wanted to see that going much more quickly than that. Okay, so let's go through the day. So we came to the day with reasonably positive sentiment around, but markets just sold off from the get-go. So quite quickly, we were looking at opportunities to get in with the sell. And the first sell we took was an opening range breakout trade when we broke out the first 15 minutes on volume to the downside. And you can see just took two positions as we broke out that opening range, breaking out on volume being key. So I entered one position on the volume into candle and then took another position, seeing how kind of firm that was, and then just took it down here for 4 odd points, couple of positions. That was the trade done. Lovely. Then we had that University of Michigan data out. Now that was very interesting because look at the inflation expectations, 4.3%, 5-year for 3.5%. That was a 30-year high in terms of inflation expectations. Some economists really like that 5-year one. Even like a move of 0.10% can be important. So that's 0.2% move, and I sold that on the news. So
just as a side note for someone who might be listening who's new to the inflation side, generally CPI very important for inflation, but PCE is the preferred metric. However, there's this little known about inflation metric that a number of people, particularly Tim Arrayos, who's the Fed watcher, looks at. So that's one of the reasons it can be really important. Long term, yeah, look at that. It's marked yellow, but oftentimes that can move the market, or recently, I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely. And this normally we totally ignore it because it's the final print, right?
Yeah.
So this report happens twice a month. So you get the first report, and then you get 50% of the respondees changing with a new 50% of respondents, and that's how you get the final print. Normally there isn't much of a difference, but there was definitely a difference here. So Sold that
Yeah.
out of the print. Just took a quick scalp. Didn't do very well out of it really, but just took something out of it. Then we were looking to take advantage of that negative sentiment. And what we saw is that we had up at these levels, these trap buyers. So we suddenly saw on the news, we had trap buyers at that 5-minute level. So we're looking for a retracement back up to the standard deviation to sell.
Update from Susano there to raise pulp prices in Asia by $20 per ton, in Europe and North America by $60 per ton.
Just turn it off. I'll turn it back on for Trump. And then there we go, move down 5-6 points, whatever. Then we had another attempt, buyers trapped, just took a break-even trade, then took a losing trade with those buyers trapped underneath the confirmed value area, and just took it out as it went higher, and then had a nice move, sellers trapping the buyers, was trying to take it off the point of control. This has been moving around a bit, didn't quite get down there and just took it off before it went back against me. And that was the day's trades.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thanks everyone. Great hanging out with you today. Mark, you got a few nice trades. Chris started out with you got a 15-point runner on one of those trades. Nice to see a trending day back in the market. So we will run it all back again on Monday and see what we get done.
Yeah. Have a good weekend, folks. Yeah, have a good one.
Take care, everybody.
Enjoy DC. Have a safe trip back to Philly.
Thanks. Take care, Elias. Bye.